CEO Ronald Hickler from Creating the Difference. I wanted to jump on and talk briefly about why it may be important to wipe your bowling ball off. I think a lot of times bowlers, maybe they just don't know. So maybe they just don't know, or maybe they do know and they think that maybe it's like, well, I don't feel like doing it today, or, what really is the benefit? So I was like, you know what? We should talk about that. We should jump on here and we should present some data even and talk about why it's important to wipe your bowling ball off. So I think a lot of times, so let's back up. So reactive bowling balls in general, they're made to absorb oil. And the absorption of oil allows the bowling ball to create more friction, or have the ability to create more friction. And that ability to create more friction can give you more performance, more hook. So conceptually, that is the purpose for the performance being much greater in a reactive ball than a urethane ball. A urethane ball just doesn't absorb any oil. So that's why, one of the reasons why urethane balls don't hook so much. But it's important to wipe off a reactive ball. And you may say, well, if the ball's going to absorb oil, why do I need to wipe the oil off? And I would tell you that there are some interesting things to think about really when you consider the absorption of oil into your bowling ball and how it affects your bowling ball performance. So take, for example, your bowling league, right? Brand new ball, bowling league, the ball can absorb oil really quickly. Bowling balls can absorb oil in a matter of minutes to seconds, depending on, it can go from seconds to minutes, depending on the cover stock, right? So let's say you're bowling league, you're bowling a typical 5-man league, and with that, you go up there, you throw your shot, you strike, or you spare, either one. There's a lag time between when you get to throw your next shot and your ball being able to sit, right? So the ball comes on the ball return, it sits, other people go up and bowl, you're waiting, your ball's having a chance to absorb oil. Next time you're up, your bowling ball may be clean, right? It may be clean, or I shouldn't say clean, but free of the oil. So then you throw your another shot, the bowling ball picks up the oil again, and it sits. So that kind of goes on for quite some time. But what's interesting is when you really begin to think about bowling in a league environment, where that no longer holds true is in the 10th frame. Because in the 10th frame, you go, shot, 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 assuming that you're striking. So then take that a step further, right, and go apply that same logic to bowling a 300 game. So you're you're on a 300 game pace, you have the front 9 strikes. Every single time you've been able to have this lag time between shots because the bowling ball is being able to sit. So you go, shot 10, shot 11, shot 12, the bowling ball doesn't sit. And I can tell you that your reaction will change if your bowling ball has oil on it. Of course, that's pretty much common knowledge. But if you think of put that in context, that could actually derail your 300 game. And I think a lot of times people don't even think about that when they're bowling, and they're bowling really well. And I've seen it happen myself. I've watched bowlers have the front 9, throw the 10th one great, the ball gets high flush, throw the 11th one, ball's a little bit light, throw the 12th one, and the ball buckets. And they throw their hands up in the air because they're confused, and then you threw it harder, or you didn't hit it as hard, or you threw it to the right, or whatever. But really it could have just been you didn't wipe your bowling ball off, which it sounds kind of silly, but there's some science behind that. So I'm actually going to pull up a graph and show you some performance here. I actually have some data that was collected with the robot. So let me go ahead and spin the camera around so you can see it. So this right here is some data that was collected using Specto and a robot. We used a robot to be able to collect this data, and I want to be able to just kind of show you, really, over here is what really matters. This is the difference that you get from 3 shots. If you threw 3 shots in a row and you were to wipe the ball off between shots, this is the kind of difference you would get. So you can see black was the first shot, red was the second shot, green was the third shot. Okay, so you look over here and you kind of get close and you can say, hey, well, the black one obviously is a little bit different than the red one, and a little bit different than the green one. And we can actually go over here, and if we There we go. So you can actually see the black one is at 60 feet. It's at 19.83 inches. So that's where it ended up at. The second shot was 18.86. So, very, very, very close shots. And then the green one is, hang on, 18.86. Yeah, 18.86 is shot 3. Shot 2 is 19.8. And then shot 1 is 20.4. Okay, I did that wrong. So 20.4, right? I'm sorry, 20.6. There we go. So 20.6, 19.8, 18.8. So they're really, even with wiping the ball off there, this is some very accurate data. Obviously over here, there's very little, if any, difference between those shots. So those balls are thrown the same. So you've got a little bit of difference between the 3 shots, right? So the bowling ball was wiped off. There's a little bit of difference in performance. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to pull up some more data while we're talking here. And then while I'm doing that, I'm actually going to pull up some data where we did not wipe the ball off, because that's really what it comes down to. How much difference is there, like when you're not wiping the bowling ball off versus wiping the bowling ball off? Doesn't matter, doesn't not matter, and that's really what we're going to focus on. So now I'm going to pull up some data that I've got here that will show you. Here we go. So this data right here, and we'll go start over here at the beginning. Obviously the balls are identically thrown until you get to down here. So, but look at this. Look at how crazy that difference is between shot 1, 2, and 3. So shot 1 now, right, is 20.3. Shot 2 is 19.7. So they're close, just like the first one was. But shot 3 is way over here at 16.9. So that's a massive, massive difference. And the thing of it is, you have to put that in context, man. So like, if you're bowling, and this is the kind of difference you're going to get from your 3 shots in the 10th frame on a 300 game, and the green one is shot 3, just from not wiping the bowling ball off, that's a pretty aggressive difference. And I think that's one of the reasons why people should wipe your bowling ball off every shot, and one of the things that you should always consider when you're thinking about consistency. Consistency is the key in bowling. And there are some bowlers, you say, well, there's great bowlers that don't wipe their bowling balls off. That's true, but there are way more bowlers that do wipe their bowling balls off that are also great. And I don't think it necessarily qualifies you as a great bowler or as a good bowler, whether you do or not. I just think, simply put, that it's going to make your ball reaction more consistent if you do. The data supports that. The common sense supports that. Just keeping the bowling ball as consistent as possible is going to give you a more consistent reaction, and that is a good thing. It always is a good thing to have happen. So I think people, if you don't wipe your bowling ball off, you should. And I think if you feel like your reaction isn't as consistent as it should be or as it could be, and you're not wiping your bowling ball off, you should experiment with wiping your bowling ball off every shot. I can tell you, for me personally, I went a long time without wiping my bowling ball off. And then when I started to put that in what's called my pre-shot routine, just wiping the ball off before I did anything else, it actually helped a couple ways. It helped to give me a little bit more peace, a little more calm, because it was part of what I was going to do every time, whether I struck or spared. And once again, it gives you more consistency. I think a lot of times we seek to get better in ways that don't make a lot of sense. A lot of times bowlers will say, well, let me go get a brand new bowling ball. That's what I need to get better. When in actuality, there are some simple things that you could do to make you better pretty quick. And one of the things is just by wiping your bowling ball off if you currently don't. I also think that there's a lot of different ways to be able to wipe your bowling ball off. I think, in August of this year, obviously 2019, they're gonna make a rule change that says you have to use a dry towel. So that's fine. I think wiping your bowling ball off with a dry towel is still better than not wiping your bowling ball off at all. I think wiping your bowling ball off currently, as you can with a towel that actually has a ball cleaner on that's approved for use, is the best way, because that gets all the oil and the dirt off just in a much more efficient fashion. No different than if you were cleaning your carpet with a wet cloth that was made for carpet cleaning would be more effective than cleaning with a dry cloth. I mean, that's just common sense. But nonetheless, I think even with the rule change happening, it's still important to wipe your bowling ball off. It's critical that you do that because it will allow you to have a more consistent reaction. And also, if getting the oil off your ball is important to you, because it also has a secondary benefit, and that secondary benefit is it actually will help to get your bowling ball to last longer, because your ball won't have enough time to absorb as much oil. So it won't absorb as much oil over time, which is also a good thing in terms of keeping the bowling ball to be able to last. Yes, the chamois that exist that are dry towels will be used. The rule change is that you can't use a wet towel, right? So anything that's dry, a dry towel, a dry chamois, we make a big fluffy pad, creating the difference. All of that stuff is completely legal. All that stuff's completely usable when the rule change hits in August of 2019. And like I said, I would definitely encourage you to wipe your bowling ball off if you currently don't. And if you do, that's good. Make sure you keep your chamois or your towel or your big fluffy pad clean, because they will get dirty fairly quickly. And definitely, you don't want that. You don't want to have wiping dirt on the bowling ball. So you want to keep those chamois clean. And urethane does not absorb oil. That is one of the main differences between reactive and urethane balls. Urethane balls do not absorb oil. That's also why, like, if you have a urethane ball, it is extremely important to wipe your bowling ball off every shot, because the urethane ball, as a matter of fact, hold on, I got some cool data on that too. I got some really neat data on that too. I'll see if I can pull it up real quick. If you don't wipe your bowling ball off and it's urethane, man, your ball reaction can really change. So it can be very aggressive in terms of how much difference you see if you don't wipe your bowling ball off. So let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I've got some data that was collected with the robot as well, and we wanted to kind of show the difference between reactive, urethane, and polyester balls. And I won't go into that here, that's not really the right time, but I will show you some performance data from urethane balls, or from a urethane ball from shots thrown with different shots. And what's interesting is, here we go, and what's interesting about this data is it really highlights the performance attributes of not wiping off your bowling ball. Because urethane, with it not absorbing oil, that oil can build up very aggressively, very quickly, and that can lead to some really big problems in terms of overall performance. So I've almost got all that data pulled up here, and then I'll flip the camera back around and I will show you that, because I think that's really slick to be able to see. So here we go, and we will now be able to flip the camera around. So check this out. So this is data, same thing. The balls are on top of each other right at the beginning. When you get down here, look at this differentiation. I mean, it's just massive. So you start with the black line, and that is shot one. Let's see, that's shot one. So it's at 20.0. Shot two is at 17. So literally, I mean, we're talking 3 inches between shot one and shot two. That's a lot of difference. You know, just from, and what that is that's just the oil beginning to pile up. So then, you know, it's diminishing return. So then shot three, right? Shot three, the ball's at 16.1. So now there's less difference, right? Instead of it being almost a little more than 3 inches, I guess now it's, you know, what, an inch and a half. It's about an inch and a half difference, actually. So that's 14.7. No, there we go. So it's 16.1, right? And 18.5. So now that's shot three. So then from shot three to shot four, let me make sure we hit shot four. That's shot, there we go. Nope, hang on, let's get on the shot. That isn't what I want. I want this one. All right. There we go. So shot four is 12.4 or 12.49, and then shot five is 12.0. So you can see that basically what this is showing you is that as the oil builds up on that ball, it begins to kind of mellow out, so to speak, or the change becomes less over time because the oil gets saturated. But look at how much difference. I mean, the ball is 12 inches at 12 board right here for shot five, and in shot one, it was at 18. So, I mean, that's a 6 board difference, and that's all thrown on the exact same line. So those balls were literally all thrown on the exact same line, and they have more than an arrow difference in terms of what the bowling balls do. So, I mean, and the sad part about that is, in those particular cases, in these videos that we were shooting, we were wiping the ball off. So the ball got wiped off every shot, and it still lost more than an aero performance difference. So that's just because oil has no absorptive properties, and I'm sorry, urethane has no absorptive properties, and because urethane doesn't absorb any oil, you can create all of these other issues that go into the performance aspect of it. But the moral of the story is you really want to wipe your bowling ball off as often as possible. Get as much oil off your bowling ball as much as possible, because oil is not your friend, and it's not good for your bowling ball's performance. And on urethane, it's even worse of an issue. So anyway, I wanted to kind of give you guys just a little bit of information and share that piece of information with you. Hopefully you have a fantastic day. And if you have any questions, as always, drop in comments. That's not carried down from the urethane that we're actually being able to see in that video there, because that was a freshly oiled lane, and those ball paths were initially the exact same, but they fall off down the lane because the oil on the bowling ball, and that bowling ball actually flares a lot, so that bowling ball has the opportunity to flare as well. We try to maximize the bowling ball's ability to create a non-carry down environment. That's just raw performance change, and it's unfortunate. And is one of the reasons that we'll have some more videos that really deep dive into this. This is just kind of the data. We've got some videos that will go along with this too. So just kind of stay tuned if you don't know, but you want to learn more about this. Obviously, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get more videos that we're going to begin to put up. We have a lot of videos coming from a lot of data that we collected when we went down and did some testing with the robot at USBC headquarters to be able to get this type of information that we were looking for. So with that being said, I'm going to jump off here. CEO Ronald Hickler from Creating a Difference. Hope you guys have a great day.